If you're starting out trucking or you've been trucking for a while, a huge reason we tend to put on a lot of weight is because we're carrying over habits before we started truck driving that we had, maybe in our eating, maybe in our activity or lack of activity, physical activity, exercise, just habits that carry over into the truck that turn the truck, for some, even into a death sentence. If your habits are of poor health and you have no regard to your health, when you get into this truck, you are going to be consistently around some of the worst foods you could possibly put into your body. That's the world's most annoying fucking sound. And this stuff is everywhere. And they're advertising to you everywhere, every billboard, everything that you see when you walk into the truck stops. So if you have those bad habits and you're not conscious of health coming into truck driving, or maybe you've been doing it for a while and you still aren't getting it, perhaps you put on 30, 60, 90 pounds and you're still not getting it, more than likely you're probably not going to get it. So you want to probably start thinking about some of the choices being made and getting healthy, losing some weight. Instead of 3 or 4 hot dogs, maybe 1. Instead of a 44-ouncer, maybe a 12-ouncer. You don't have to just stop everything you enjoy overnight. But portion control and actually trying is going to get you a lot more ahead of where you might be now. I personally, before I started truck driving, had been into health since the age of 12. I started driving at around the age 30, 31. And so when I started driving, I was able to keep a lot of my health habits in focus. I was focused on the healthiest foods I could possibly find out on the road. Anywhere from grabbing bananas and pineapples and cups of veggies they sell at Love's, to even if all you can have that day is beef jerky, trail mix, whatever. I even go to either supermarkets or Walmarts to do a lot of my shopping for my own food, so I can make salads, have fruit on hand, have almonds on hand, pistachios on hand. I buy some meats and stuff and I make eggs with them. And if you can't cook on your truck, you can have an ice chest to carry some of these healthy foods that you might not be able to cook, but they're still healthy. You can still make salads without a cooker. It's good to have an inverter, and if you do use a microwave, there are healthy things you could use with a microwave. You just want to be health conscious at the end of the day, thinking about your health, not just food conscious. We're all food conscious. We talk about food with our buddies. We talk about food everywhere we go. It's all about food, what we ate, what we're eating, how this tastes good, how that tastes good. That's fine and fun and all. Great topics of conversation when there's not much else to talk about. And we all relate to food. I personally prefer other meaningful topics of conversation, but I get it. And when you're conscious of food and you're thinking about food all the time, that's the first thing you're going to go to in any situation, whether you have a tiny little hunger pain that you want to get rid of, that you don't let set for a few moments, that your body actually needs. It's what it evolved into. Little digestion's not going to kill you before your next meal. You're going to be thinking about food when you feel down, when you're upset, when you're pissed off out here. You're going to be thinking about food when you're bored, when those longer drives than usual hit and you just want to snack the whole time. You're going to be thinking about food when you're tired. You're going to be thinking about food at the end of the day when you had a long day. So if you're not thinking about the foods that are going to actually fuel your body, you're going to be eating foods that just taste good, salty, fatty, sugary, disease forming eventually. Not any of that stuff's so bad by itself, but when it's your makeup of your whole food that you eat, you're probably going to have some problems coming your way. Probably already having them. And besides food, just overall mindset of activity. I have weights on my truck. I'm at a Petro right now by the Grapevine in California. They got a little area to work out there in. It used to be better than it is now. The cables of the machine have gone to crap, but there's still stuff you can do in there. I was a little upset when I noticed that it was falling apart. So instead of just not using it in there, I've decided to do calisthenics in there, which is just basically body workouts like push-ups, pull-ups. You can do pull-ups, push-ups. I do jump squats, a little bit of back extensions on the ground. I do a little bit of abs. So there's a lot you could still do, and it's a pretty big sized room in there for 2 or 3 people to work out in. And fortunately, there's rarely anybody in there, so you got the place to yourself. And so just having those habits coming into truck driving, sometimes I feel healthier on the truck than I do when I go home. Just because you go home to maybe other influences that aren't as healthy, or you just want to relax and take a break from being healthy. You got to make a lot of right decisions out here. You feel like when you go home, you could go ahead and have a few extra cookies or go out and eat quite a bit more than you'd usually have, since you're kind of eating a lot of the similar things. That's kind of what health is. You're going to be repeatedly eating a lot of healthy things consistently. It's not a different burger joint every night, a different fast food joint every night, a different restaurant every night. Far more expensive in cost, both in finance and your health, your future self. So just keep all these things in mind, getting into trucking or truck driving. If you've developed some habits that are bad, probably just start rethinking about what you're doing. You're not going to turn around overnight, but a little bit of thought and consciousness is going to help get you started. Also, if you're just getting into it, similar thing. If you haven't been healthy and haven't made the healthiest choices during your lifetime, now's a good time to start thinking about it, because you are definitely going to cause some harm to yourself out here. It ain't a game out here. When you see these guys walking around with cankles the color purple, can hardly get in and out of their trucks, let alone do a pre-trip. Not safe for the driver, not safe for the drivers around him, and very not safe for the general public. Take care of your health, drive safe, subscribe, take care.